Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today. A self-described incel was arrested in Orange County, California for an alleged series of assaults on women with tear gas and pepper spray. Now, in these incidents, which took place from May 22 to the end of this year, it is alleged that your 25-year-old Johnny Devin Young approached women, made extremely perverted and lewd statements towards them, and then as these women were reacting to him and his profanity, he then sprayed these women with pepper spray and recorded all of these incidents allegedly online and posted them on social media sites like Reddit and YouTube. Now, your Johnny Devin Young was on the run for several months after participating in these assaults and was finally arrested and charged with these assaults and was also charged with a hate crime. Now, the police are seeing the alleged actions of Johnny Devin Young as a series of isolated incidents, but when I take a critical examination of these alleged assaults that your Johnny Devin Young allegedly video recorded, they fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And in the chapter Incels and the Man Crisis, I talk about why many of these men who call themselves incels are motivated to participate in their violence against women. Now, many of your incels or involuntary celibates are frustrated because they can't have a relationship with a woman, and they believe that the reason why they can't have a relationship with a woman is based on women allegedly rejecting them. However, in many cases, it is not the woman that is rejecting the incel. In many cases, it is the incel who goes out here and rejects himself. And because he rejects himself, he gets frustrated and about women saying no to them, when in actuality, it is him that is saying no to going out here and putting in the work in order to go out here and find a partner. Now, many of your incels, again, they want to blame the woman, but the problem is that many of these men have such a negative perception of themselves that they go out here and sabotage themselves before they can go out here and even get started in the social marketplace. Now, many of your incels oftentimes believe that they are not attractive, and because they believe they are not attractive, what they do is radiate a lot of negative energy, and it's that negative energy that winds up turning people away, and it's that negative energy that also gives these men an extremely creepy vibe. Now, these men, they're sitting there talking about how they're involuntary celibates because the women don't want them, when in actuality the problem is these men really don't have any sort of confidence to go out here and attract women. And instead of going out here and putting in the work on things that would improve themselves, like going out to the gym to go work out, studying the kind of fashion that would make them appear to be attractive, and getting a haircut, or going out here and just living their own lives, what these incels do is go online and go and read the manifesto of the late Elliot Rodger. Now, your Elliot Rodger is the patron saint of your incels, and many incels look up to your Elliot Rodger, who was the mass murderer who participated in the La Isla Vista mass murder, which cost many innocent people their lives because, as your Elliot Rodger stated in his manifesto, he could not go out here and get a girlfriend who was an attractive white blonde. And because your Elliot Rodger could not get the attention of the woman that he wanted, an attractive white blonde, he felt justified in going out here and participating in violence against others. And it is this philosophy that your incels go out here and follow as they sat there and read the manifesto of your Elliot Rodger, as these men sit here in their echo chambers on places like Reddit and 4chan. They sit there reading the manifesto of Elliot Rodger and following his dysfunctional ideas like it was the gospel from the Bible. And many of these men, as they're sitting there reading this dysfunctional manifesto, they believe that they are justified in participating in violence against women who for rejecting them, but they don't really read your Elliot Rodger's manifesto objectively, because as someone who objectively read Elliot Rodger's manifesto as part of my research for books like Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, and The Man Crisis, I can tell you that your Elliot Rodger never once approached any of those women. No, he didn't approach any of those women, even though he spent money on dating coaches, because your Elliot Rodger was a coward. And he was a coward because he was afraid of rejection. And many of your incels, they are so afraid of rejection that they wind up rejecting women before they even approach them. And it is again that defeatist attitude that leads to these men being the losers that they are. And because these men reject these women, again, they believe it is their right to go out here and do harm to them. And that's what I believe motivated your Johnny David Young to go out here and participate in his campaign of assaults on women in Orange County bars. Now, your Johnny David Young was angry because he believed that these so-called attractive women were rejecting him in his mind, and because he believed these women were going to reject him, he believed that he needed to hurt these women for denying him an opportunity to have a relationship with them. And as he approached these women in a parking lot and outside of these Orange County bars, he would walk up to them, say all sorts of perverted and lewd things, hoping to get a negative reaction out of them. And as he got that negative reaction, he used that as a motive to participate in assaults on these women with pepper spray. Now, your Johnny David Young was driving around, drifting in his van, participating in these assaults, and then taping these assaults and putting them on social media sites like YouTube and Reddit in an effort to try to get attention for himself in the same way that Elliot Rodger was looking to get attention when he was whining on YouTube about women. But what your Johnny David Young was doing with these videos was he was looking to get more attention than Elliot Rodger. What he wanted to do was wage a campaign of alleged terror, trying to scare women into seeing him as a threat. But what your Johnny David Young really did not understand he was doing by making these alleged videos of these assaults was he was already making a case for the Orange County District Attorney's Office that would lead to a possible slam dunk conviction, because he was giving the prosecutor all the evidence to go out here and convict him. Now, this isn't your first offense for your Johnny David Young, who was already had been arrested for going out here and participating in an alleged theft and some sort of issue with identification, and he was already on probation. And now that he's gone out here and participated in felonies against women, which are being compounded with hate crime charges, your Johnny David Young, the self-described incel, will possibly wind up going to prison for several years, and he won't be able to fend off the advances of your Bubba and Tiny inside of the Orange County Jail and the Orange County Penitentiary. And he's definitely possibly going to get a lot of attention from Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, and Big Dave, and they're going to be going out here having a relationship with him as they're trading his backside for some Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, Kit Kat candy bars, packets of Crystal Light, packets of Flavor Aid, your six-pack Oreo cookies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies, gummy bears, and Hershey's candy bars, not to mention Vaseline, so that they can spit roast him in between the sessions that he's going to have where your Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, and Big Dave are going to have the relationship with him that he wanted to have with these women. And this, sadly, is the final fate of many of your incels who, again, say that they are involuntary celibate because women won't have a relationship with them. They wind up getting turned out inside of the penitentiary and ironically winding up having the relationship with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, and Big Dave. And they wind up not celibate anymore after their time inside of the penitentiary. But the reason why these men really can't have relationships with women is not the women at all. No, it is the perception of these men's self. And because these men have low self-esteem and no self-confidence, they don't want to go out here and take the L's that every man has to take out here when they enter the social marketplace. Whenever any man enters the social marketplace, he has to go out here and take L's because it's just a law of averages as related to women. And again, the woman that you think is so-called hot and desirable, if she has nothing in common with you, then there is no basis for a relationship at all. And these men don't really know how to have a relationship because in many cases, these men, they get most of their ideas about relationships from your Hollywood romantic comedies, which are scripted entertainment, and a good majority of these dudes get more of their ideas from the porn industry. And because these men get their dysfunctional ideas from this media, they create a rose-colored reality where they believe that they are being denied their manhood because these women will not have a relationship with them and will not have sex with them. Because this was a narrative that was pushed in many movies and TV shows in the 80s and all the way up until to now. And this idea has got many males out here thinking that their manhood is connected to a woman having sex with them. And again, this is a false notion created by your entertainment industry and is not the truth as related to manhood. No, your manhood is defined by the Most High God when you were born male. And what makes you a man is the fact that you were made a male by the Most High, and your manhood is defined not by sex with a woman. No, your manhood is defined by your ability to go out here and be a steward in God's order, and your ability to be a head and go out here and lead. Unfortunately, many of these males, they are not leaders. No, they are followers, and because they spend their time upset that they cannot go out here and get the attention of women, what they do is get frustrated, they go get angry, and they enter into echo chambers in places like Reddit and your fortune, and they sit there and read the manifesto of your Elliot Rodger, and they look to copy the dysfunctional behaviors of your Elliot Rodger, believing that it is their right to go out here and participate in violence against women, when what they're doing is participating in a felony that would lead to them going to prison. And again, your incel sits there and wants to again blame women for them not being able to have sexual relationships, when the only person keeping them from having any sort of relationship is them. And the problem with many of these men, again, is a sense of entitlement, believing that they are owed a relationship and a sexual relationship with a woman, when no man is owed anything in this world. And if a man wants to go out here and have a relationship, then he has to have something that women can relate to. And this is something that flies over the heads of many of your incels. They don't understand that they have nothing that women relate to, because one of the things that attracts women to men is confidence. The other thing is masculine energy. And many of these guys don't want to go out here and build up their confidence or their resolve by going out here and putting in the work, by going out here and again doing things like working to improve themselves, because many of these men again believe they are entitled to sex because they are just there. But that's not how the world works. No, women are attracted to men they have things in common with, and it's hard to have anything in common with an incel, because an incel, like from what I've seen in Elliot Rodger's videos, radiates feminine energy. And because these men radiate feminine energy, they basically are invisible to other women. And because these men have no confidence and have weak body language, they just aren't somebody a woman would relate to. Not to mention, when they start talking, they get socially awkward and go out here and start saying all sorts of weird stuff. So your incel is a man in crisis, and he's a man in crisis because, again, he's been raised in a dysfunctional way to believe that he is entitled to a relationship, because in many cases his single mother, like Elliot Rodger's mother does, is go out here and try to buy him friends, because they don't want to go out here and work on the social awkwardness. They don't want to go out here and put in the work on finding things that will make them relatable. They have absolutely no confidence. And as they're sitting there frustrated, they are simmering, boiling in anger, and seething in rage. And they believe it is their right to go out here and participate in violence. But those who participate in violence in this country, they are going to be punished and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and made into an example to others, that if you go out here and perpetrate crimes on innocent people, what will happen is you will be punished to the fullest extent of the law, like I believe what's going to happen to your Johnny David Young, because this is his second offense. And with this second offense being a felony, this man, who was in crisis as an incel, will be facing a greater crisis as he fends off the advances of Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, and Rondell inside of the penitentiary. And when he is in that penitentiary, he'll realize that it wasn't the women that were the problem. No, all of the problems that led to him winding up in that cell, if he's convicted, are all staring him in the mirror when he's looking in that penitentiary. Now, if you want to learn more about incels and what motivates them to participate in their violence, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more men's issues videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis.
Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.